Good morning, everyone. While we're waiting for others to get in and get settled, now's a good time to grab anything you need to get comfortable. Maybe it's a glass of water or a hot cup of tea or coffee. Also, if you have items with you and you'd like to smudge, now's a good time to grab those items as we begin to ignite the healing within. If you don't have smudge at home, relatives, that's okay. We'll send some cleansing, positive and healing energy your way. It's a new day. It's another sunrise, a different phase of the moon. It's our opportunity to start fresh and to start again. No worries about what happened yesterday. We can always start over. Aloha, kakahiaka, hello and good morning. My name is Malia, and I'm a community healer at the HIR Wellness Institute. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on the mental health and wellness of our relatives of Turtle Island, as well as other Indigenous and underserved communities, and also victims of crime. You can join us here every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., where we will always breathe, stretch, explore ways of integrating self care and wellness into our daily lives. And we will always honor our cultural traditions, our customs, our ancestry, our strength, and our resilience. So, thank you so much for joining us today, relatives. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our HIR Wellness Institute team member who is here with us. We have our social work intern, or at least one of them, John Yang. Good morning, John. John is here for your relatives just as I am. We're here to serve. We're here to talk about it. We're here to reflect and honor who you are and what it is that you need. Everyone at the HIR Wellness Institute, just like all of our relatives out there, have different gifts. And each of those unique gifts are there right now so that we can lean into each other. We can have a conversation. We can decide what it is we need to move forward. We're here for you. I also want to say good morning to all of our relatives out there. How are you doing today? Seriously, I'm asking you, how are you doing today? How'd you wake up feeling? Let's do a body scan from head to toe. Are there areas where in your body where you might physically be feeling discomfort or tension? Might even be pain. Sometimes here we feel tension or temples or jaw. Maybe it's your neck or shoulders. Could even be an upset tummy or pain in the lower back or knees. And if you feel pain-free, that's great. That's awesome. We can also do a scan and see how our heart's feeling. Is there anything that's weighing heavy there? Or maybe your mind. Are there thoughts that kept you up at night that you were thinking about when you went to sleep? How are you doing, relatives? You can share how you're doing in the comment box. We love it. That's what we're here for. But you don't have to. This is all about you, relatives, and what you need. But do take a moment and decide where you're at. And why do we decide where we're at for the day? Because then we can figure what we're going to do on our path of wellness. We might crawl today. We might sprint. We might walk slowly, one step at a time. Or maybe we'll just sit down in that path, take stock, inventory, rest, and look for some respite. Good morning, Anna. So good to see you. Matilda, good morning. Anytime. Yeah, thanks for telling me, Matilda. Relatives, you can stay here for a minute. You can stay here the whole time. This is your time. This is your life. You're living it. I'm just here for a minute. Here to give you some love, give you some encouragement, give you what you need. Good morning, Candace. Candace says, body feels great, heart feels heavy. Thanks for sharing, Candace. Thanks for sharing. Anna says, slow start this morning. I hear you, Anna. It's Friday, everyone. For some people, maybe your work week is ending today into the weekend. Maybe you're just getting started. But I wish you well today. So for those of you, you did the body scan, you did the check-in. Candace says she has a heavy heart, but body feels good. For me today, I adopted a kitty. I showed her in yesterday's video. She's tiny. She's tiny. She fits in my hand. Um, she has a lot of energy and she's really fast. She's like, so I keep her in my room or in my son's room at night. My son was gone last night. He stays at his dad's last night. So I slept in my son's room and she was with me the whole night. And then this morning I woke up. I'm like, I'm going to do this video and just keep her in the room with the door shut. And she's not having it. I could hear her meowing. But anyways, kitty mom life. Stephanie says, good morning. Good morning, Stephanie. I didn't sleep well. I am under some stress. I have been deemed a close contact to the COVID-19 virus. Thanks for sharing, Stephanie. Let's breathe through it today. And we'll focus on some things that we can do so that you can stay calm throughout the day. I don't know if you got your test or if you're going to get your test. But in the meantime, we got to do things to stay as relaxed as possible and be gentle with yourself, Stephanie. Thank you for sharing. We're thinking about you. Matilda says, I woke up feeling rested, then got up and immediately thought of negative characteristics of people. But I caught myself and turned it around to finding a positive about that person. Wow, Matilda, that is really wow. Thank you for sharing that so much. Thanks for sharing your insight on that because positivity a lot of times can be a choice, right? And I'm definitely not encouraging that. What I mean by focusing on positivity, Matilda, is exactly what you did, and that's great. I'm so happy to hear that. But also, it's really easy to look at the things that are bothering us and all the time and what we don't have and what's empty, what's half empty about our lives and that kind of thing. And I'm not saying we should ignore the things that bother us, but it is a choice to choose, some positive things. It is positivity is a choice. Practicing radical compassion and radical joy is a choice. Practicing gratitude and self-acceptance is a choice. And that does not mean that we should just completely like pretend like we have no problems and there's nothing there, because that actually can be very toxic. So what is great is what you did, recognizing something positive about a person, or choosing that, but or choosing something great about life, but also realizing that things can be difficult. So it's interesting because oftentimes, in society, we're told that, oh, you have to be positive all the time. Oh, you have to be happy. You don't worry, be happy. I love that song, by the way. But the truth is we can't deny the things that are getting to us as well, because they can be an indicator of conflict that we may have. So yes, that's awesome, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And I'm glad also too that you recognize there are things that maybe are annoying you as well. So relatives being authentic about where you're at and what you're feeling is great. And that makes me think of for the relatives out, for our relatives, for any of you out there, if you're not doing okay today, because I know some of us are doing good. I'm good because I actually have off this weekend for the first time, I think, this entire year. I think this is the first time this whole year I've had off on the weekend. Um, well, no, at the beginning of COVID, at the beginning of the pandemic, I did a couple times. But other than that, I usually work heavy on the weekends. I usually work extended hours. And this weekend, I do not work, so I am going to spend time with my kitty. I'm going to clean my house. I haven't been able to do that in a long time. I'm going to say kind things to myself. I'm going to focus on eating nutritious food, getting some sleep. I want to sleep in. John says, Stephanie, I'm sorry to hear you didn't sleep well. Hope you stay healthy during this time. Sending love your way. Yes, absolutely, Stephanie. So if you're not feeling okay, relatives, it's always good to find things that you're grateful for and the positive things that you do have in your life, the blessings you have. But also, it's very important that we don't pretend that there isn't a problem. We don't want to sweep things under the rug. Um, when we recognize there is something there that is um, maybe harmful to us, or things that aren't serving our highest good or what it is that we truly want and truly need, to recognize that it can be very pivotal, because that truth is allows us to release what's going on. Like if we do have some pent up resentment, if you're resentful for someone, if you're angry at someone, um, you can recognize that, and then we can begin to start to once we honor the authenticity of that, then we can start to understand, okay, why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? Where can I go from there? But the first step truly is just to reflect on it and to honor what it is your true feelings are. So that being said, relatives, if you're out there and you're like, you know what, my day sucks, or whatever it is, I don't mean to giggle about it, but like I've had those days, and sometimes it's grim. I do have those days still. And when you wake up or something happens and your day is just like you're just not doing okay, maybe it's your week, might even be a month or a season, or you know what, in 2020, some of us are just having a bad year. I want to remind you, when you're not doing okay, that it's okay not to be okay. I will remind us every time we meet. It is okay not to be okay. But if you're not doing all right, there's things that we can do. There's things that you do have control over. And so when we're not okay, you can take stock. Are you tired? How much energy do you have? What's something, even if it's a seemingly small thing, we can do to nurture ourselves? And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment. But to our relatives out there who are not okay today, I want you to know that there's things you can do. And one of the things you can do is reach out to someone that you trust, that you can talk to. Maybe it's a family member or a friend or a coworker. Let them know how you're feeling. Lean into someone. And also, you can call our Cares Warm line. It's open every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can call or text our Cares Warm line, and within 24 hours, you will get a return call back by one of our Cares Warm counselors, or a text. Our Cares Warm counselors, John and I know them personally. They are amazing. They're amazing people. I know them all. I love them all. And they're passionate about walking alongside you on your journey of self-care, wellness, and mental health. We understand at the HIR Wellness Institute that sometimes being strong and resilient means that we're going to lean into others to talk it out. Our CARES counselors will listen to you judgment-free. I mean this, relatives. There is no stigma here. We all need help sometimes. I need it. You need it. John needs it. There's not anyone who is exempt in the human world who does not need people to lean into sometimes. And for Indigenous people, that's part of our life way. Community is our medicine. Sometimes. Not only can our CARES Worms counselors listen to you with respect, dignity, judgment-free, stigma-free, they can provide you with that emotional support, and also they can connect you to resources that may be helpful to you. There are resources out there, relatives. There's lots of resources. So whatever it is, don't be afraid. Know that we're not here to judge you. We're here for you to lean into as you're walking this path. Because our path in life, which is synchronous with our path and journey of self-care, wellness, and mental health, it's not easy. But it's also beautiful at times. It's full of love. And the awesomeness about this path is also, sometimes we forget, but relatives, it is our choice. You are the one who gets to choose. What does wellness look like for you? What is it that you need for the day? And let me ask your relatives, what do you need today? What do you need right now? It might be as simple as a cup of coffee, but maybe it's more than that. You know what I was thinking about, what I need last night? I really need a hug. Like, I really do. I need a hug. My partner works he goes to school full time and he works full time, and he has another part-time job. I have two full-time jobs. I love them both, but two full-time jobs and being a mom of an 11-year-old and adopting this kitty. It's like yesterday I came to the realization that I really do need some human interaction. So I don't know, like tonight, I'm so happy to be off on this weekend, but I need some hugs. And I need to be able to look at my partner and have a conversation. Because we're always just like, hey, how's it going? Good morning. Hey, I'll see you later. When do you go to work next? Oh, I'll be going to work at 4. Oh, darn, I work at 3. Okay, well, we'll see ya. And I realize that I really do miss that connection. And I'm hoping tonight that we can even take just a few moments to connect with each other. So what do you need today, relatives? Maybe you need a nap. Maybe you need to take a moment with your kids or your partner, your grandkids, if you're able to see them. Or give them a phone call. Maybe you need Netflix and ice cream. And like I always say, relatives, sometimes wellness looks like Netflix and ice cream. Why? Because your life may be full of things where you need some downtime. And that's okay. I know that the Creator did not give us the ability to experience joy and love and laughter if we are not supposed to experience these things. Even the hormones in our body, right? Things like dopamine and oxytocin, and there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head. They're meant there for us to experience joy. Allow yourself to smile. Allow yourself to find the humor in things. Allow yourself to receive the love that you need. John says, know that we are not here to judge you, relatives. And John is absolutely right. There is no judgment here. You can always find compassion here. And you can always find a safe place to talk to us. This is my safe place too. I share a lot of things with you that I don't just, obviously I'm not just walking around sharing in my daily life. This is a safe place, relatives, and we're so glad that you're here. And you can always inbox us too. Remember, you can call or text the Cares Warm line. You can talk to us right here. Good morning, Trini. Trini says, I need to feel that I'm enough, that my kids feel my love. That's beautiful, Trini. I feel that too. Trini, I want to remind you, as I'm reminding myself and all of our relatives out there, that you are enough. Relatives, you are enough. I am enough. You are enough. Trini, you are enough. Does it sound corny when I say it? Because if you're having those feelings of like, no, then practice saying it. You can say it out loud. Go look in the mirror. And if you say it and you still aren't trusting it or believing it, then it's time to deep breathe and to do kind things for yourself. Aw, Trini. Thinking about you, sending you lots of love. All right, relatives. So let's talk about the deep breathing. Why is it important? It stills the mind, stills the heart rate, it slows down the breathing, it brings us to our center, and it grounds us. It's interesting because we're naturally inclined to think that deep breathing is not that important. Or I shouldn't speak for anyone and myself. I always used to think that, yeah, deep breathing, whatever. But I deep breathe almost every day now, probably every day for the majority of this year. My mind is not in that rabbit hole. Usually not. Prior to deep breathing, it was always in the rabbit hole, and I didn't even know it. My sleep is better. And we know deep breathing is profound. Why? Because we know what happens when we're not breathing. Every breath brings in that healing gift, that nourishment to our lungs and to our bodies, to nourish our blood, to continue on the sacred dance of life, this path of life. Trini says it's so difficult to be a single mother, Mexican, single. I know I've done a lot, but some days are just difficult. Trini, thank you for sharing. Some days are difficult. I know. Shout out to all the single moms out there. I've been there, and oftentimes I still feel that way. Because I do the 99% of the caretaking. Some days are really difficult, Trini. So I'm going to ask you, Trini, and to our relatives out there, when you're having a day like this or feelings like this, Trini, what are you going to do today to care for yourself, to be kind to yourself? I would love to hear that you're spoiling yourself today. But being realistic, what's something you can do for yourself today, Trini? And I want to ask our relatives too right now, please do feel free at any time to share something positive about who you are. I commonly talk about how we say approximately 500,000 negative things to ourselves every single year. In a day, that looks anywhere between 12 to 1,500 negative things we say about ourselves in a day. That's about 42,000 negative things we say to ourselves in a month. And in order to heal from our traumas, and in order to um, let go of the historical trauma that many of us have experienced, particularly our Native and Indigenous people, our Black brothers and sisters, we've experienced centuries of trauma. And our parents, and our grandparents, and our grandparents' grandparents, and on and on. There's been lots of trauma, and that travels through our development, through our blood. It travels in our DNA. So for us, sometimes it's harder because we carry that. And how can we break that cycle? As an individual, you might be like, but I'm just one person. How can I fix what happened, with my grandparents? How can I fix the pain that my people have experienced? How can I erase the genocide that has just traveled down? You can begin to do that, and we can break that cycle. And the way that we break that cycle is through healing. Now, how do we heal? What is it? Can we heal from that cycle? The truth is, self-care, radical compassion for yourself, the act of joy within you for you to experience joy. Trini, for you to experience joy. That begins to break that cycle. Joy does physiological things for our body. It does emotional things for our body. It does things for our mind. And when we allow ourselves to practice joy, when we allow ourselves to relax, when we allow ourselves to be kind to ourselves, to say kind things, to say loving things, it breaks the cycle. And so, Trini, I understand when you say, like, in so many words, it's like some days I just need to know that I'm enough. Yes. Some days we need to know that. It might be every day that we need to remember that. And that's okay. And if you're thinking, well, you don't really personally know me, how do you know that I'm enough? Oh, I know. Because the Creator gave you a life. You're here. You're 1 in 7 billion people. You are a unique, beautiful spirit. You are enough, and you do need to be seen. And I may not be able to see your relatives like this, but I see that you're out there and there is a need. There is a need to be seen. And that's what our self-care is about. That's why it's important to recognize what it is you need. Be authentic about how you feel. Because then you can truly give yourself the medicine you need, and that medicine might be here, reflecting and honoring your resilience, your ancestry, your cultural traditions. By the way, Trini, one of the nonprofits that I work for, um, it's called Nahale Studios on Facebook. Yesterday, one of our one of our team members, her name is Jessica Gonzalez, and she did a video on being Mexican, and it was beautiful. She also works at the HIR Wellness Institute as well. She's our bilingual victim service advocate, and she's a beautiful soul. And for her to talk about her culture yesterday, my heart was just glowing for her because you could see, being here and that she's not at home in Jalisco. I think I don't know if she's, no, Guadalajara. Anyways, sorry, I don't know my geography as well as I should. But she was just glowing yesterday talking about her culture, and she always does. And she talks about her family and her ancestors, and it's so beautiful. I could tell it was healing for her. So thanks for sharing, Trini. Stephanie says drinking hot cedar, sage, and beetroot tea and listening to you has already brought on a calm. And to hear you read my comment out loud, I felt it from the pit of my stomach through the top of my head. I felt some of the pent-up stress exit my body. Thank you. And hear you speak of human interaction. Maybe it was just what I needed this morning, was to hear my fears spoken out loud. Aw, Stephanie, I wish I was drinking your tea with you. Um, yeah, you're welcome, Stephanie. We're here for you. We're here for all of you. We're here for ourselves and we're here for each other. That's community activated medicine. Yeah. And you know what, Stephanie? If talking about your fears made you feel like that it helps you to release, which it does, relatives, write it out. Go ahead and feel free, even if it's just on an envelope. Like if you have an envelope laying around, go ahead, or a piece of paper, a journal, notebook, whatever. Go ahead and write out your fears or release them. A good exercise is to even write out your fears and then go outside and burn it in a fire pit. It's a great way to release. Matilda asks, explain what is a rabbit hole. I'll totally explain that, Matilda. That's a great question. All right, so I talk about rabbit holes a lot. Now, a rabbit hole, this is just my language, but people do use this word. A rabbit hole to me is when you're so deep in your thoughts, your worry and your anxiety, they start cycling around in your head. And next thing you know is you're so deep in your thoughts that you might not even feel like you're in land space. Like you might just, are you one of those people, relatives, where you just living in your head at all times? Now here's some of the examples I give of living in a rabbit hole, because you can go in and out of them, or you might be in them all the time and not even realize. A rabbit hole, you might be in a rabbit hole when you drive to work and you get to work and you have absolutely zero recollection on how you drove there. It's like you were just living in your brain, in your thoughts, in your worries or anxieties, your anger, your whatever it is, and then you're at work and you're like, wow, I must be really disconnected to my body because I just drove to work and I have no clue how I got here. That would be an indicator that you might be in a rabbit hole. Another indicator is you're around someone, your forehead's pinched, you look like you're thinking real deep, and someone says, which breaks you out of it, goes, hey, what, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? Well, I don't know. You look really upset. You look like you were lost in your thoughts. That could be an indicator of being in a rabbit hole. A rabbit hole, another indicator could be, do you ever feel like you're disconnected from your body and you're just a big head? Like, do you walk around in life and your head is just your thoughts? That's another indicator. Another indicator of this is if people try to talk to you and you're not paying attention to them and you float out, you're just floating out. And then you come back to it and you're like, oh my gosh, they were probably talking to me for a long time, or I missed something. I don't know. That could be an indicator. Another indicator is that you live more in the technology world than you live in the physical world. Now, this happens to a lot of us relatives. For me, it's so hard because my work is so computer driven. Like even right now, I'm on technology, right, to interact with you. If you are more in technology, spending a majority of your time in technology, as opposed to like, consciously, being grounded and drinking a cup of tea without being engaged on a tablet, a cell phone, a computer, a laptop, a television. For me, I'll oftentimes find myself on a laptop, a cell phone, and the TV all at once. I might even have an Alexa going on at the same time. That could be a sign that we're living very much in the headspace, and we need to get out of that. The rabbit hole is the cycle of worry, anxiety, and stress to the point where we're living so deep in our head that it's affecting our wellness and it's affecting our ability to be present. The way that we get out of that rabbit hole, one of the ways, is through deep breathing. And it's powerful because when we're in that rabbit hole, when we're deep in our mind, that means that the mind is driving. Okay, we have body, mind, spirit, right? Those are some of our planes of existence. And as Westerners, as Western people, the mind is usually the one that's doing the driving all the time. But the mind needs a break. The mind has thoughts that can cycle. So we need to give the mind rest. And why is the mind overly busy? Because the Western world is overly busy. We have our jobs, our people we have to care for, our children, our grandparents, our spouses, our grandkids, our parents. Like, we have all these different responsibilities. And we have our bills, our rent or our mortgage, our water bill, our electric bill, our internet bill, our phone bill, our subscriptions, or our food, or whatever. And then not only do we have that, then we have to worry about our own health and our own wellness. And we have to juggle that with our jobs. Some of us have jobs just being caretakers and we're not even getting paid for that. Then some of us have jobs, maybe it's essential work, maybe you have multiple jobs. And what that creates is an overactive mind. And then we have commercials, right, that are constantly telling us to buy this, buy that. You want to make life better, you need to purchase this, you need to purchase that. And it creates this overactive mind. And when we go to deep breathing, what it does is it stops the mind. It gives the mind a break. It slows everything down and it brings us to a quiet and it brings us to that center. Now, in that stillness is where we get to listen to the language of the heart. And the language of the heart is not words, it's emotion. So when we deep breathe, it brings us to our heart. And our heart is the language of love. It speaks the language of love. It speaks the language of emotion. There are no words, it's just feelings. And in that wordlessness and in those moments of quiet and stillness, when we are present of our feelings, we become also present of what is innately within us at all times, but the brain makes us forget when it's too busy, is that we are sentient beings with spirits. And in that stillness of the heart, we become aware of the presence of our spirit that is always there. And when we become aware of that presence expands in light. We expand in light. It's innately healing to be present, to be conscious of our spirit. And we'll find that spirit in the heart. And we get to that heart by slowing down the mind. And that can be easily accessible to you, I promise you, through deep breathing. Anna, I see your question, or I see your comment. So I'm going to comment, Anna, but first let's go ahead and do some deep breathing, because otherwise I'll just talk and never stop, and then we won't deep breathe. So let's go ahead and access that right now, relatives. Every week I'm going to try and introduce us to a different healing breathing exercise, and there's many. And this week we've been doing square breathing and a different stretch, tension stretches. So with square breathing, we're going to breathe in through the nose as we trace a line across the square line. And we'll hold it there when we get to the corner, and we'll exhale through the mouth as we trace the other part of the square. We'll hold the breath at the corner. We'll inhale as we go across, holding the breath, and exhale. Now you can do this on your hand if you like, or you don't have to do anything with your hands and you can just imagine the square. Closing your eyes is optional. You ready, relatives? Here we go. Deep inhale. Hold it. Exhale. hold, deep inhale, hold, and exhale. Let's try it one more time. Deep inhale, hold it, exhale, hold it, deep inhale, and exhale. You can do that anytime throughout the day, relatives. Now, we're going to do a tension stretch. We oftentimes hold it in our shoulders, but maybe it's in your lower back or your knees. What we're going to do is we're going to take those areas where we feel tension. I feel it in my neck and shoulders all the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze and tense those areas that feel tense. We're going to make them more tense. Just squeeze it. Squeeze, hold. Exhale and release. Maybe that's in your knees. You can squeeze the legs together tight. You ready, relatives? Let's do it again. Squeeze and hold. Squeeze it tight. Bring those shoulders to the ears. Squeeze tight. Squeeze the belly. Squeeze the tummy, the arms. And exhale and release. Let's try one more time, relatives. Here we go. Squeeze, hold. Bring the tension as hard as you can. Bring it. And release. You can roll those shoulders out if you need to. And gently stretching the neck by looking side to center. These are just guidelines, relatives. You are in control of your body. This is your choice. Self-care wellness is always your choice. And the same thing with the stretch. You do what feels right for you. You are in control. It's your choice. And looking up. Anna says, I feel like I'm not enough. I have so many health issues that if I don't take care of them well, I think you know where I'm going. Why don't I feel self-worth to take care of me? Thank you for sharing, Anna. It's a really powerful question. Anna, I'll ask you to think about that throughout the day, and as you do, be kind and gentle to yourself. Forgive yourself. And I don't know the answer specifically for you, Anna, but I will say this, that I know a lot of us feel that way. So many of us, and a lot of us, I'm not saying it's always women, but a lot of times the roles in our society is that we need to do so much for others. Because if we don't, we feel some sort of guilt. And as women, and men too out there, I'm sure men out there, you do this too. But I know, speaking as a woman, that we're just told to take care of everything. Maybe you're going around putting out fires, nurturing the kids, the children, maybe taking care of a spouse, I'm not sure. And by the time it comes to us, it's like, psh. You know how I one of the realizations I came to that I do this, that I put myself last. When I make dinner, actually I should say when I used to make dinner, I would make my partner's plate beautiful. And he would get this beautiful plate. And then I would make my son's plate just how my son would want it. And then I would make my plate. I wouldn't bother to present it in any which way. I gave myself the least most appealing cut of food, or like the bread that was accidentally a little bit too burnt, or the end pieces of something. And after a while, I started realizing this when I started doing these R&Rs with you all. And I'm like, why am I giving everybody else more care and more consideration? And I think part of that is society. I really do. I think part of it is society. Um, Women don't always come first. And I've even found with relatives a lot of the times when there's trauma with the children, um, that oftentimes, like if there's a separation in a relationship, the mother is usually the one, almost not all the time, but a lot of the times that the mother is the one who's doing the caretaking, and the children will actually side with the father. So I've had this conversation with a lot of very wise people, with some elders, with some therapists, with some advocates, and we did come to the point that a lot of it does have to do with the responsibility falling on women in society. And I'm not saying it's that way for you, Anna. I'm not sure, but I do want you to know that it is okay to take care of yourself first. It is okay. And being here is a good way to do that. And another good way is to treat yourself the way you treat people that you love. And if you struggle with that, which I know many of us do, then go ahead and do something kind for yourself. When we say at the HIR Wellness Institute, practice radical compassion, practice radical love, practice radical joy, that means for you too. And I know, Anna, you're saying you have health issues. And I think that sometimes they can be worse if we aren't taking care of ourselves. So, and I see that you have this realization because you're saying, if I don't take care of my health issues well, what that means is take care of you too. Sending you so much love, Anna. I know relatives, we struggle with self worth, and that makes sense. You know why it makes sense? Because we have a society where we're told just to buy things like, pay attention to TV. What are they trying to give us? What are they trying to feed us? Oh, you're too heavy? Oh, you're too fat? Go get surgery. Oh, you're too fat? You need a diet. Oh, you're too skinny? You need to bulk up. Oh, here's some Spanx. Here's some Shapermint. Here's some uncomfortable thing. Get surgery, right? Get surgery. Go get fast food. Oh, you need fast food? Oh no, what you really need is you need more medication. Oh, this medication might make you ill. Well, then you need another medication. Oh, your eyebrows aren't nice enough. Your skin's not nice enough. You look too old. No, you look too young. I mean, that paying attention to that alone will put us in rabbit holes. It's no wonder that we feel unbalanced and we have trouble understanding our worth because our worth in this society has so often been equated to a monetary value. Why? It's just to make us feel weak so that we go ahead and we can contribute to making someone wealthy by buying some sort of solution. And so, yeah, it's just sort of ingrained in us as Westerners that we aren't enough. But the truth is, we are enough. And that's why it's important to listen to what's in here and what's in our spirit sometimes and get disconnected from the brain. We don't always need to be in the thoughts in the brain. Sometimes we just need to feel, reflect, and release. Trini said I braid my hair, wore a pink elegant blouse, a lapis lazuli necklace. Ooh, I love it, Trini. My gym shoes, and I'm eating a croissant with a chia tea. Is it chia or chai tea? Either way, awesome, Trini. Beautiful. I mean, you're doing like a half a dozen self-care and wellness actions right now. Relatives, truly, like if you're not feeling like you're enough, let's just as a friend of mine always says, let's just fake the funk until we feel it. Treat yourselves, treat yourself with like Trini, what you're doing. Wear something cute. Wear something you like. Rock a crystal. If you have your crystal, I always have crystals by me too. Brush your hair. Seriously, brushing your hair, act of self care and wellness and self love. This weekend, maybe take your time to give yourself a nice facial. I did that a couple of weeks ago. It was awesome. And it felt so loving. My body responded very well to that. Spend 15 minutes flossing and brushing your teeth and the mouthwash and the brushing the tongue and the massaging the gums and comb the hair and oil it and just treat yourself like gold. Do it. It's Friday. Do it. Sean says a rabbit hole is a metaphor used for when someone is going down a wrong path. Yes. Thanks, John. And for me, it is definitely uh, mental. It's a mental thing for me, or it's a habitual thing for me. Sometimes a rabbit hole for me is compulsive eating. I get anxious, sad, and nervous. I'm like, what's going to feel good right now? What? I just need cake and ice cream or whatever. That can be a rabbit hole too. John says, Trini, he loves croissants and chia tea. And Trini says that I'm here sharing with each of you beautiful people. Trini will love it. So happy. John says when you're feeling this way, be kind to yourself. Absolutely. Jody says it took me a while to realize. Hey, Jody, how you doing, girl? Took me a while to realize again that I am enough. And it started when I realized that the way people were treating me was a reflection of who they are and nothing to do with me. Beautiful, Jody. Yeah. It reminds me of one of our team members always says, hurt people, they hurt people. And if people are treating you a certain way, it is a reflection of who they are. And when we find ourselves in the cycle or habit of being around those people, that can be a good indicator of focusing on self-love. Because we end up in these pathways that maybe we have the cycle of being treated a certain way in relationships all the time. Or maybe we have the cycle that we always go to when we get to those rabbit holes. And so when you recognize that maybe, you have that pattern, then we can also do some healing. That's a time where you can reach out to people to talk to. You can always call the HIR Wellness Institute. You can call the Cures Morm line and we can talk about it. Maybe that could mean seeing a counselor. Thanks for sharing, Jody. Yes. And relatives, you do not deserve that treatment. By the way, if you find yourself in that cycle, that does not mean that you deserve it. If you find yourself in a cycle, for example, like for some people, it might be toxic relationships, that does not mean that you deserve it. It means that there's something that's happening, a pattern that's happening. And how can we recognize what that pattern is so that we can release that trauma and begin to be able to move in a way that serves us and what we really do need? Jessica, so happy to see you. Thank you so much. Jessica is our bilingual victim service advocate, and she's here with us right now, too. John says, you are enough, Anna. Just be kind to yourself during this time, sending love your way. John also says, there are awesome insights you have, Jody. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Matilda says, miigwech for explanation. I was in a rabbit hole for the longest time, but now I'm working on being present. I'm healing from my residential school traumas. Matilda, I wish I could hug you so much right now. I don't know if you might not be a hugger, but I wish I could give you a big hug. Wow, Matilda. I hear about the schools as I work with a lot of Native people. I'm Native Hawaiian, but I hear about the schools a lot from parents, from grandparents. I was just watching a documentary on it the other day. Matilda, if you need someone to talk to, do reach out to the HIR Wellness Institute. We do have Native people. We do have Native therapists and counselors. Our people are trained on historical trauma. Our services are always free. I do know we have a waiting list for therapy, but Matilda, please do reach out to the HIR Wellness Institute. Give us a phone call. John, can you put the phone call here? Can you list our phone, our main line, and also our Cares Warm line? Yeah, Matilda, the trauma can definitely cause um, that type of cyclical thinking that just circles and cycles around. And you deserve to be able to release that. Sending you so much love, Matilda. Mm. Your story is important, Matilda. John also linked a website, urbanbalance.com, for the benefits of deep breathing. Thank you, John. And John says, I'm glad that you're working on improving yourself. Thank you for sharing and sending love your way. Make sure to be kind to yourself on days when you're not feeling too great. Anna Trini says, hugs full of love. We are enough relatives. Trini says, yes, we're always trying to be present for everyone and everywhere. But if we don't receive the same, we feel emptiness in the soul. Trini, thank you so much for saying that. And also, too, if we're always caring for other people and we're not caring for ourselves, then it kind of shows as example to others, even the ones that we love, that we don't need to be considered that way. And so it kind of will reinforce that we don't need that care. Um, so, asking your partner, asking your family, hey, I really need this, you guys. Hey, I need you to see me. Because if we don't, we do, Trini, you're so right. We do start feeling empty when we serve others and we care for others and we don't receive it back. We start getting resentful. And that resentment contributes to trauma, and it can contribute to, things like anxiety, anger, hurt, upset, and it can actually manifest physically as well. So, absolutely. We have to be able to put ourselves first, relatives, and that's really hard for some of us. It's really hard. And it's a conscious choice every day, every time you have that choice. Trini said I never heard of a rabbit hole. It's one of those things that I kind of just Alice in Wonderland, when she goes into Wonderland, which is the world of crazy mental weirdness. Remember, she follows that white rabbit down that hole and goes into this strange world that is scary and confusing and contradictory and very unhealthy. So that's the rabbit hole. Indigo says, I'm going to commit myself to not playing Whist on my phone while streaming Netflix tonight. Awesome, Indigo. More power to you. I will admit, when I need my brain to relax, I do go to some of the game apps. So I've recently started doing that, and I will have Netflix at the same time. More power to you, and I try to be conscious of that too. That you're trying to stay centered and stay focused and not be too overwhelmed. Good for you, Indigo. You're awesome. Thank you for sharing. Trini says, I also love hearing this poem. I'm sorry, Trini. I can't say the word because I don't want to ruin that word. But when I'm feeling this sad, it's a beautiful poem available on YouTube. So, guys, thanks for sharing, Trini. You can look this poem up on YouTube. Desiderata. Desiderata. I don't know how to say it. Trini says, I have to go, but I'm sending all my gratitude and love your way, everyone. Thank you, Malia, for your love and solidarity. Absolutely, Trini. Thank you for your love. Be safe and have a great day. Thinking about you. Yep. Anna says HIR Wellness Institute. Absolutely. And here's our main line if you want to call. Matilda says, I've been on my healing journey since 36 years of sobriety. I'm 74 years old and now a helper in healing. I work as a wellness therapist in a Northern First Nation community. Matilda, I want to meet you. I want to see you. That's amazing. You're amazing, Matilda. So you're an elder, you're a healer, 36 years of sobriety. Wow. You're amazing, Matilda. Man, I wish I could see you. Thank you for what you do and how you serve others. Thank you for being um, an elder and a leader to us. And wow, Matilda. Relatives, before we go, I just want to share the moon phase that we're in. It's been an hour. I'll let us go. It went fast. The moon phase we're in today is Ole Ku Kahi. That means we're in the absence of Ku. It's a poor day to plant and it's a poor day to fish. It's a day of reflection. Let this weekend, as we are in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday, these 4 days to reflect. It's not a time of action. It's a time to plan for when the energy is right. Decide what it is that you want, what it is that you need. Go ahead and rest. Oh, Leah's here. Our founder and CEO, Leah Denny, is here. Leah, so glad you're able to hop on. Leah says, I had the privilege of meeting her in Canada. She's so amazing. I bet. I bet. You know who else is so amazing? Our CEO and founder, Leah Denny. Leah, I know you're super busy, so I'm so glad you're able to stop in. Leah created the HIR Wellness Institute so that our relatives could begin to heal from our trauma, not just our own individual trauma, but our historical trauma. All the services that we offer here are completely free. She will never charge a penny for any of our services. We will never ask for an insurance card because that doesn't matter to us. All you need to do to continue to heal on your path and journey of self-care, wellness, and mental health is the desire just to be there. The desire to consciously walk that path. And we're here for you to lean into us. That is our passion. Matilda says you brought tears to my ears. Thank you. Yes, Matilda. Thank you so much for being you. Matilda says, Leah, I love you, my girl. You are awesome. I know we will. And with that, relatives, I want to say mahalo nui loa. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Malama pono I kokino. Take good, righteous care of your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Aloha nui. Huge love to you all out there. You're all amazing. You are a testament to the strength and resilience of our ancestors and who you are. Before we go, there is a community survey linked to this video. If you haven't taken it, relatives, please do. It's completely anonymous and asks us just a few questions. But it truly helps us understand how to serve you, our relatives, at the HIR Wellness Institute. Ahui ho akuno. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's Aloha Friday. And for me this weekend, that truly means no work till Monday. Aloha, everyone. Take care.